We are back, and today we're playing more Goryo's Vengeance. So if you haven't seen my previous video on this deck, first of all, I recommend checking it out, and I'll put a link here so you can click on that. But the point of the deck is to reanimate a Grishoalbrand and then draw through your library with a package of Nourishing Shoals and Autochthon Worms, and then kill your opponent with Soul Spikes to their face. Once you've used all 4 of your Soul Spikes, you might say that's only 16 damage, but you can loop them back with Endurance. So that's the idea. Now, if your opponent really hates on your graveyard and they're exiling your graveyard, they've got a Rest in Peace, and you just can't quite fight through it, well, that's where Urza's Saga comes in as a backup plan and a backup win condition. So this deck is pretty similar to the specific list I ran last time. There's a couple of changes though that I do want to talk about. One is the inclusion of Malevolent Rumble here. So Malevolent Rumble is the new card from Modern Horizons or Modern Horizons 3 specifically, that lets you reveal the top 4 cards of your library. You can put a permanent from among them in the hand, put the rest into your graveyard, create an Eldrazi spawn that lets you sack it for a colorless mana. So this is another way to dig into your library a little bit, maybe hit a Grishoalbrand that you can flip into your graveyard, which is nice. And I'm trying Malevolent Rumble in the Ignoble Hierarch slot today, and Malevolent Rumble does have a couple advantages. One is obviously it's more digging for combo pieces, as I just said, and it does still let you ramp towards a potential Shifting Woodland on turn 3. So that could be a big deal. Maybe you go turn 2 Malevolent Rumble, bin a Grishoalbrand, turn 3 Shifting Woodland, copy, and win. So that's a pretty powerful line. The downside is that you can't play Buried Alive on turn 2 anymore like you could with Ignoble Hierarch, but you're also less susceptible to removal because, yes, your opponent can kill your Eldrazi spawn, but they're less likely to, first of all. And second of all, your card has done something else in addition to creating the Eldrazi spawn. So if your opponent is spending time to kill your Eldrazi spawns, then you're 2 for 1ing them, right? So that's nice as well. So there's upside and there's downside relative to Ignoble. I want to try it. I'm not sure that this is going to be better. I may end up going back to Ignobles, but we're trying this out. We're seeing how it works, and we'll go from there. The other thing I want to talk about is the inclusion of Expedition Map in the sideboard. So Expedition Map is a way that lets us turn Urza's Saga into a reanimation target. So currently, Urza's Saga can get turned into a Grishoalbrand via Underworld Cookbook if you have a Grishoalbrand in hand. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way to tutor a Grishoalbrand from your deck into the yard with Urza's Saga. If anyone has one, let me know. That would be nice. But really, we're looking at Expedition Map. You can Saga, get Map, Map gets Woodland, and so Saga represents a reanimation spell via Map. However, this is a little bit slow, so I'm leaving it in the sideboard for now, and then we're going to see how it goes from there. Otherwise, everything else is pretty similar. I went up on a Footsteps for the matchups where you need to be a little bit faster. And yeah, let's get into a league. So our hand here has a couple of lands. We have a Buried Alive. We have a Necrotic Ooze as a reanimation spell. This Soul Spike is a little bit useless. The Endurance is a little bit useless. We do have a Thoughtseize to potentially buy a little bit of time. We are on the draw, so we're going to see an extra card. My concern with this hand is that it is a little bit slow, but I'm going to keep this, bank on this Thoughtseize, maybe buying a bit of time. And, we do have the pieces, so I'm gonna try it. I'm not super excited about it, but it has a reasonable plan to win a game. And, I think you have to keep a hand like that. Again, it's effectively a 5 or kind of a 6, because we could play Endurance as a blocker and potentially buy a little bit more time. If this hand doesn't have the Thoughtseize, I'm maybe thinking a lot more about sending this back. Now, one thing I am concerned about, I don't want to get my Turn Timber Symbiosis discarded. Okay, they are a red deck, a Goblin Guide. That's probably the worst thing we could have seen here. but it does potentially find us lands, so that's decent. Thoughtseize. I mean, we will Thoughtseize. It does effectively save life, but I'm not liking our spot here, given that this is burn. We have to shock this in, we have to Thoughtseize, and then we're gonna be playing a tapped Turn Timber next turn, it looks like. So they've got Lava Spike, Searing Blaze, Boros Charm. So I'm gonna take the... So Searing Blaze doesn't really do a whole lot. Boros Charm represents the most damage, but Lava Spike is something that they... I'm gonna take the Boros Charm. The Lava Spike represents something that they can cast next turn, but like basically it's better to take the Lava Spike if we expect them to draw a 1-mana spell, because then we're going to be guaranteed to line up the Thoughtseize. At the moment, I'm not going to be able to necessarily line up this Thoughtseize. Yeah, see, they spike us, and now the question is, what is the rest of their hand? Do they have something useless, or do they have something useful? Shifting Woodland is okay. Does let me maybe use this Necrotic Ooze as like Soul Spike food, and in fact I actually should have done that. I should have Soul Spiked the guide using Necrotic Ooze and Thoughtseize. We would gain 4 life. So I'm going to play this Turn Timber tapped. Yeah, so then I can use the Thoughtseize and the Ooze for Soul Spike. Buried Alive next turn puts cards into my yard. And then Shifting Woodland the turn after that represents Reanimation. We do need to be a little bit careful about the timing of that, just because of what our opponent... I'm going to wait to see if they give us a land. It's Underworld Cookbook on top. Okay, so I'm going to Soul Spike the guide, get rid of Thoughtseize, get rid of Ooze. They could Searing Blaze their own guy, but they... Oh no, can Searing Blaze hit your own guy? Oh, it wouldn't hit us for damage, though. I mean, I'm pretty okay with that. They're drawing a card off their Sunbaked Canyon, which, again, I'm relatively okay with. So we know that they have Searing Blaze and 3 unknowns. They could play another creature. No, they're just fetching a tapped Sacred Foundry. Okay. So we go to our turn, Shifting Woodland. So here I'm going to go for the Buried Alive. And we can get Grishoalbrand. And what are some other things we don't want? Probably more Grishoalbrands. The Endurance I will take. Haywire Might would be a better draw than Grishoalbrand. So I'm just going to dump 3 Grishoalbrands. Yeah, I don't really want to draw one. And if I could draw some sort of instant speed reanimation like Goryo's Vengeance, that would even be better. So the thinning is useful. I don't need to fail to find with some of the other cards. They're not going to have Grave Hate in game 1. So they've played a Goblin Guide. Okay. They're going to hit us for 2 more. There's a Goryo's on top, so that's excellent. We go to our turn. We pick up a Goryo's. So here, the question is, well, I mean, there's no real harm in playing this land. And if I Goryo's hit them, they do have a... I do need to be a little bit careful of how low I draw. But yeah, I mean, yeah, it's definitely just got to be Goryo's hit them. They do have a fetch in play for the Searing Blaze. So we're going to attack. And then we're going to draw some cards, and we're going to see where that gets us. And the question is, what are they doing? If they take action to, like, you know, kill or Grishoalbrand or something, I'm pretty okay with that. They're going for the Searing Blaze now, which feels kind of suspect. Maybe they don't have anything better, but here we're going to get 2, because that's not preventing our life gain. So we're going to have 2 draw 7s that we can do. We do pick up a shoal. We also pick up a soul spike. I can draw 7 more. We pick up a worm. So I'm gonna shoal the worm, gain 15. I'm gonna soul spike our opponent, getting rid of buried alives, which they know about. I'll draw 7 more. We can draw 7 more. We do have another soul spike, so we still have a draw here, even if we don't quite hit anything else. We do, though. So we can shoal another worm. Draw 7 more. We do have endurance, so there's 10 cards left in our library. Shoal another worm. I'd rather not show them the endurance if we could help it. So I'll soul spike them again. We can get rid of Grishoalbrand, and we can get rid of another buried alive. I'm gonna not show them Grisly Salvages unless I have to. Again, there's no reason really to show them things that we don't need to. So I'm going to show them Gorios. And do I have another black card? I have Gorios. Okay, so I can show them 2 more Gorios. And we pick up game number 1 against Burn. That was pretty tense. I mean, the life gain from the Soul Spike was actually really handy. And, you know, Thoughtseize on Boros Charm was actually pretty decent as well. I think they mulled to 6. I'm not 100% sure of that. I wasn't really looking. But yeah, a nice round 1 win over Burn. So what do we want against Burn? So I could definitely expect some sort of, well, we want speed. So we do want Footsteps of the Goryo. They potentially have some anti-life gain stuff. Sorin I like just as like a blocker that maybe will gain a little bit of life. I'm thinking about the Haywire Mites. So we could like, okay, Necrotic Ooze is going to be slow. Witch's Cottage, no. I'll maybe swap a Boseiju in for that. Eidolon, we don't care a ton about Eidolon. In fact, we barely, I mean, it can do a little bit of damage. Haywire Mite could be okay for that. Thoughtseize, I don't want against Burn, so we're going to be taking those out. Map, no. Spellbomb, no. Needle, no. Pact, probably not. We can just win in response if there's anything that we really care about there. Yeah, I don't think Pact is where we want to be. So what are some of our other, we have at least one more cut that we need to make. We could cut a Salvage or a Rumble, or maybe we cut a Buried Alive for being a little bit slow, especially on the draw. And do I want another Haywire Mite? I think maybe 2 feels okay. Could also swap in a Forest. Is there going to be something that they're going to have, like another, I'm probably not going to, well, they could have Blood Moon. They could have Blood Moon. All right, maybe I do want Haywire, and I will cut 1 Saga for being a little bit slow. All right, so let's go like this. I mean, we do just have like natural Shoal Worm, which is also really nice. It seems like card disadvantage until you realize that Burn plays a bunch of like Lava Spikes. So really this is like a 5 for 2 effectively sometimes. We've got some ways to put cards into our yard. We have a Footsteps to reanimate, so I am going to keep this. Zurin Orb is a nice little life gain bonus. We're probably getting a Surveil land on turn 1. They didn't do anything on turn 1, so I'm reasonably happy to see that. Even with the Haywire Mite, I still think I want the Surveil land, just because I really do critically need to get a second land here. So I need the 2 looks at the second land. Go to our opponent's turn. They got a tapped Sacred Foundry. They've got Inspiring Vantage. They're playing a Roiling Vortex, so that's definitely something that we can kill with our Haywire Mite. And yeah, we're going to get the Underground Mortuary, Surveil. I mean, I like it, but I really need a land, so we're going to have to bin that. We take 1 damage. Land, please. not land. I mean, Shoal Worm still represents a lot of damage here. It does turn it into 10, or a lot of life. It does turn it into 10 rather than 5. The question is, do I want to expose this Haywire Might to a burn spell? Then I'm going to need to find another way to kill this, probably. Unless I just have like a ton of extra life. I'm not playing the Zurin Orb. I assume this Haywire Might is getting like removed in some way if I play it. Yeah, I think I'm actually just gonna pass. We're not gonna play all 3 of these, so I'll discard a Rumble probably. See what they have as follow-up. If it's spells, that's better than if it's creatures for me here, because potentially I just get to like blow the Vortex with a Might and then Shoal Worm and have a bunch more time. Let's see what their follow-up is though. Harsh Mentor. That doesn't actually do anything. Well, it does a little bit, but it mostly doesn't do anything. We can just kind of win in response. So we act. Oh, and no, it's when they activate an ability. Okay, so it actually does do some stuff. Okay, we pick up a Polluted Delta. That's good. Now the question here is, do we go for the salvage? I think we're gonna go for the Haywire Might, which means I'm gonna have to fetch with this. So we're gonna have to take 2 from that. And get a Swamp. I'm gonna play the Haywire Might, and then we have the ability to blow up the Vortex. We have Shoal Worm, so that's all good stuff. And then we need to just put the Grizzle into the yard. And here I get to block sack, so I get to save the damage from the Harsh Mentor as well. Or they use a spell. So we should, we'll get priority after this. Gain 2 life, we lose 2 life. We exile the Roiling Vortex. Oh, they're using their ability, sure. So we don't gain the 2 life. We just lose the 2. The Vortex is gone. We save the 2 from the Harsh Mentor, though, so it's kind of equivalent to had we used it earlier. And then they've got a couple cards left. Another Roiling Vortex. Okay, sure. I can't have Shoal Wormed in response there because the Vortex, the previous Vortex's effect was still active. Okay, so go to our turn. We pick up a Goryo's. So here, I think I'm going to go for Malevolent Rumble. Even though it sees 1 card deeper, having the potential blocker is nice. We don't find it. So we can Soul Spike the... Alright, so I get the Urza Saga. We can, while we are comboing, Soul Spike the Harsh Mentor, which is nice. Shoal Worm still represents 10 life with the Roiling Vortex. I could also Goryo's Splicing Shoal, maybe? What is the Splice on Shoal? Oh no, it's just an arcane. I can't splice onto the Shoal. But I could Shoal Splice Goryo's. And that would be okay. The question here is, do I block with the spawn token? I think I do. Just save the life as much as I can. Yeah, Shoal Splicing Goryo's I think should reserve life. A double royal, they really have all of the Roiling Vortexes. What are they even concerned about with so much life gain? Not even sure. So we go to our turn. We find another saga. So I'm going to play it. And, I mean, we're just passing, which is not good. Could footsteps back a Haywire Might and then blow one of the vortexes. But then I'm also just waiting a turn on salvage. I think my plan actually is to just win with like attacks and not necessarily with the full combo. So I think I'm not as into that. They're bolting up me to 6. Do they have more burn? So they're taking 2 down to 13. They're going to hit us to 4. We just have to salvage here. Triple Roiling Vortex is rough. Second Harsh Mentor as well. Again, yeah, we're not really trying to win with abilities at this point. We're really just trying to win with combat. If we can smack them for 7 life gain or something, 7 and gain 7 and gain 7, maybe we can get there. Probably not still, but maybe. I do get to get another Haywire Might here. They're skewering us. That's not great. They also are holding up the ability to use Vortex. That might actually just kill us here. That puts us to 1. With the Vortex triggers on the stack, I can salvage, and then with the Vortex triggers on the stack in my upkeep, I can Goryo Splice Soul, but then they sack a Vortex in response. So, yeah, we're dead. Alright. Alright, so we do want more Artifact and Enchantment removal. Where I want the second Beseiju, I want the last Haywire Might. I think that's pretty good for the rest of it. What don't I want? I mean, Zurin Orb I should play early if I get it. Cut another land, probably a fetch, honestly. And then we can cut one more card. Could think about cutting an Endurance. Yeah, I'm going to cut an Endurance. If we get really unlucky, this could maybe bite us, but I just want the extra power, and I'm willing to trade away some of the... So we've got double Haywire Might, we've got a few lands. We do have a Grishoalbrand in hand. That is not the same thing as having one in the yard. We also have a Grizzly Salvage. This is a little bit risky. We have no clear path to reanimating. We would have to find, but we could find a Shifting Woodland. I am going to keep this. Mostly on the back of Grizzly Salvage looking for Woodland. I'm going to lead on the Mortuary. Don't feel like I need to play the Haywire on turn 1. Rumble? I'm going to get rid of Rumble. I know it digs deeper, but we also need a way to get Grishoalbrand into our yard, and I think this is maybe a little bit slow. So next turn, it's looking like either Tomb might hold mana open if they play something we care about, or Tomb holds Salvage up if they don't. They do get to hit us for 1 with the Swift Spear. Go to our turn. Another Grizzly Salvage. Yeah, I'm definitely happy I've been to the Rumble at this point. We do have to shock there, and given that a lot of my plays take 2 mana, I'd rather take the 2 from Overgrown Tomb than the 3 from Turn Timber. I'm expecting to play Turn Timber tapped next turn. Saga would also kind of be okay, if a little bit slow, because it does provide a means of getting the Grishoalbrand into the yard. They have a very fast hand here, which I don't like the looks of. This potentially is representing a lot of damage. They didn't have... Okay, they have a Rift Bolt next turn. So again, we're taking a lot of damage next turn. So we do find a Saga. We could put a Sorin into play. So if we just like play Sorin, or we get the Saga. Yeah, I think the Sorin is not going to stall for, well, this is tough. So we put a Sorin into play. They bolt the Sorin and attack, and then we have to sack the Sorin. We gained 1 life. It maybe saved us like 4 life. They bolt our face. They're attacking for 2, 4. Depends on what we draw, obviously. Sorin plus Shoal Turn Timber lets us flip something. What is Saga really doing here? I could play Saga, play like 2 Haywire Mites and try to block and gain some life. That actually might be the best play. I'm going to take this. Yeah, because if I... Okay, so I could play Might, I could play Might. And then they have to... Like, we kind of are saving a bunch of Prowess triggers. I mean, if they bolt a Might, then that's okay too. It's going to save me a lot of life. And we're faced with the... Well, no, we basically have to play the Saga this turn. So we could... no, I think that's just how it is. Interesting. What are they thinking about doing here? Are they thinking about surgicaling, maybe? Not really sure what they would surgical. Maybe they surgical Sorin. Okay. So we go to our turn. We pick up a Worm. Not the worst draw, because if we get a Shoal, this is okay, but it's not the best draw either. And yeah, I think I need to just follow my plan. I could play 1 Might and then play Salvage. Potentially get somewhere next turn, but I think I'm just taking too much damage if I do that. Play 2 Mights. And then, yeah, they can bolt one of these to get one of the Swift Spears through. Maybe they remove both, but if they remove both, then I probably save myself 6 life. And actually, they each gain 2, so I really saved myself like 10 life. They're bolting our face. Playing a Sacred Foundry. They've got a Royal... I'm surprised they played that now. I guess they're figuring that they're going to use the your opponents can't gain life effect. But I mean, I'm still going to save 6 damage and kill their Roiling Vortex, so sure. I'm going to go to blocks. Like, they're just letting me take out the Roiling Vortex that I otherwise wouldn't have been able to take out. I guess maybe they figure we have the Saga, so... Sure. Yeah, so we stay at 12. They essentially used this as a 4 damage burn spell. We do get to make a Saga token next turn to potentially block some damage. Pick up another worm. That's pretty terrible. So I'm going to play the Turn Timber tapped. And I can either make a Saga token or use a Grizzly Salvage. So, alright, I mean, that's where we're at. I do get to get Cookbook next turn, which is nice. So we'll see how much they do stuff pre-combat. So they're hitting us for 3 down to 9. They have more. Looks like yes. They have a Skewer. Ooh, this is looking a little rough. Down to 6. They have another? They just have another Skewer. I mean, alright, so we're down to 3. We can make a blocker. There's nothing we can find off salvage, so that's going to be the game. Alright, a little bit unfortunate. They had the triple lightning bolt. We would have been okay against some other hands here. But, I mean, Burn feels like it could definitely be a little bit of a tough matchup. We do have a lot of life gain, too. Maybe I shouldn't have kept my game 2 hand. Maybe I shouldn't have kept the game 3 hand. I mean, we had play to it. We just kind of didn't... Yeah, I think maybe the game... Well, the game 3 hand here lined up very well against what they had in game 2, but then they had a very aggressive, like, double Swift Spear 1-drop spells hand, and not really that much hate. Whereas game 2, they had a lot of hate, but their hand was very slow. Interesting. Alright, I mean... Also, do they regularly play the 4 Roiling Vortex? Maybe that's standard. I don't know if that's standard. It was more standard when the Cascade spells were going around, but Cascade is really not that popular right now, and I can't really think of anything that's leveraging 0 mana spells that much. I mean, there's Living End, obviously, but Living End is not probably a reason to play 4 of that. It's not a big enough deck. Alright, anyway, let's go to the second round. Okay, we are on the draw again. This time we have a hand that looks kind of funny, but it's definitely going to be a keep. So we have a potential turn 3 here. We can play Saga on 1, and then on turn 3 we get a Cookbook after floating a mana, dump the Grishoalbrand, and then have the Delta to reanimate it. So this is a potential turn 3 win. Having a Shoal in our hand is already nice as well. Our opponent mulligans to 5. We're also very insulated against discard because we have 3 cards of the only card that we care about getting discarded. So, I mean, if they discard us, sure. Potentially gives us some game against counterspells as long as we can find 1 more land as well. Also, we're going to look like Amulet on turn 1 when we go Saga Pass, and maybe that will make them make some different decisions. Yeah, so we're going to go Saga Pass. And then turn 2, we can go Delta and Surveil. Or we can go Shifting Woodlands to still keep them in the dark a little bit. Shifting Woodland could see play in Amulet. Cycling Architects of Will. Oh, so it's Living End. Cycling Generous End, okay. So Hedge Maze, sure. Spinning a Subtlety. That's... Maybe they need a land or something like that, because that feels like a very bold choice against what looks like Amulet based on what we're doing. And then the question is, do I play Shifting Woodland to continue trying to look like Amulet? I think I probably do. I mean, if they can Living End back, they may, like... I guess they'll just Living End out whatever they can. I guess... Even, yes, I know this is an extra subtlety in the yard, but... Like, it's an extra creature in the yard for them Living Ending stuff back. But against Amulet, Subtlety's like one of your best cards, I feel like. Maybe I'm wrong. They're passing. Okay. So here's where we're going to reveal that we are in fact not playing Amulet. So we're going to get the Underworld Cookbook. And I'm going to put a Polluted Delta into play to make them think about blue cards. And I'm just going to pass. Now we're threatening instant speed wins. And they're fetching, and they could still have Force of Negation here, so there's no reason to go for this yet. They're surveilling again. Dump a Generous Ent. Go for a tapped Breeding Pool. And are they passing the turn? Looks like maybe they are. Alright, so I'm going to, on their end step, fetch. And I can get a Swamp. Still on their end step, I'm going to use the Cookbook, discard a Grishoalbrand, create a food. And here I can go for a Goryo's. And when they counter it with their Force of Negation that they now have to pay mana for, I can go for another Goryo's next turn. And this in order to stop this, it's going to require double Force plus blue card, which they might have. They could have it. They had to tap out, go to our turn. We draw for, okay, yes. And then the other thing is when they living end, we get back a Grishoalbrand. So, I mean, yes, please. I'm going to Goryo's the Grishoalbrand again. Now, I could splice this onto the shoal, but I have nothing to pitch to the shoal. I could shoal for, yeah, no, I just don't have anything to pitch. Never mind. They have another Force pitching Sink into Stupor. Okay, they did have it. I mean, that's okay. Like I said, we have another Goryo's. And if they living end, then we get a Grishoalbrand. So I'm pretty good with that. Cycling another Architect, sure. Cycling a Curator. I'm surprised they didn't just hardcast that Curator. We do have land enchantment creature in the yard right now. Ditching a Waker of Waves. They ditched a Force of Negation. Well, I guess they know we have the Shifting Woodland. So we're going to get Underground Mortuary. And I'm going to leave that on top. So we go to our turn. We play another Shifting Woodland. And now we are... Oh, we don't have Delirium? We have Enchantment, we have Creature, we have Land. Oh, 4 or more type stuff. But I can discard... Yeah, I can discard the Haywire Might. And that gets us Artifact. And now we should just have it. I mean, we do have to draw okay here. Basically, I need to hit a worm in the top couple. But they could have another Force of Negation. Maybe they have 4th Force of Negation plus blue card. And even then, we're still in pretty decent shape. And if they ever living end, we just get a Grishoalbrand back. So, I mean, this feels like probably a good matchup for us. But not 100% sure. Alright, so we'll draw some more cards. Soul Spike represents an extra draw if they have a way of getting rid of, or if they have another Force here to stop Shoal. It looks like they don't. 31 cards in deck, so we'll be going down to 3 cards. I'm going to Soul Spike them, so we'll get rid of a Grishoalbrand, we'll get rid of a Goryo's. We'll draw some more cards. Draw some more cards. We have Worm. Do we have Shoal? We do. Oh yeah, we have another Shoal at the beginning. I'm just gonna Soul Spike them now because this is just where in the hand I am. I'll get rid of a Goryo's. I'm gonna get rid of a Buried Alive as well. I should have actually gotten rid of one of these Grishoalbrands. I was just looking for a card to get rid of. So we can get rid of another worm. 15 more life. Draw a little bit more. I'm not going to show them the Zurin Orb. So Soul Spike, I'll get rid of a Thought Seize, which they don't know about, but I don't know, something to get rid of. Soul Spike them again. Can Soul Spike them again. I think I maybe am going to have to show Grisly Salvages here. I did already show Buried Alive, so maybe I'll show more Buried Alives first. Buried Alive. Yeah, more Buried Alives, that works. And I am going to have to show Endurance. So here I will Endurance. And I can ditch what's a green card that they know about? I'll ditch a Malevolent Rumble. Oh, they saw the Grizzly anyway. Alright. Do they have Subtlety? No, they don't. Alright. So we're going to reshuffle our yard. Let the Evoke happen first. Send the Endurance back in. Draw some more cards. And we can Soul Spike them one more time. Alright, so we get a pretty nice and clean game 1 over Living End. They did have multiple Force of Negations, and we just kind of fought through it. So Pact of Negation, definitely something I want. I'm definitely interested in playing at instant speed, so I'm not as interested in the Footsteps of the Goryo. Nile Spellbomb seems like the type of thing we want. Witch's Cottage is maybe a little bit slow, so I'm going to cut that. I'm going to cut Rumble for not playing at instant speed. One Haywire Might still feels okay. Zurin Orb with the interest in playing at instant speed might also be a cut. And we could cut... Don't think I want to cut a Buried Alive, although... I mean, it is something that's just going to eat Force of Negations. Also think about bringing in like one Boseiju. Yeah, I think I do want that. I expect maybe like a Nile Spellbomb type of thing out of them, or actually Leyline is what I expect out of them. So I do want Haywires. I do want the Boseiju. And what don't we need? We can cut a land, maybe 2 lands on the draw. I'm going to cut a Delta and a Swamp. I have the Haywires. Thoughtseize is good. It might not be critical. I'm gonna cut one Buried Alive. I'm gonna actually... No, it feels wrong to cut the Thoughtseizes, but I'm not sure what else to cut. Want the Mites, want Cookbook, want Spellbomb. Can cut one Soul Spike. Feels a little weird though. Maybe we don't need Ooze. Yeah, maybe we cut Ooze. Cut one more Rumble. We just cut all the Rumbles. Trying to play instant. Yeah, okay, let's go like this. It's also a little bit harder to dump cards into the yard when they are potentially going to be attacking our yard, right? So we do have double Haywire Might. We have this part of the combo. We have a Pact to make it happen. We just need to find a way to get a Grishoalbrand into the yard. So I'm going to keep this. Delete on Misty. Draw another Pact, so whenever we eventually get to the combo, we are going to be able to force it through. There's a strong case to be made for just passing the turn next turn and binning the Grishoalbrand, depending on what we draw. Actually, maybe should have done that this turn. They're binning something with the archive. Okay, they ditch a Street Wraith. So I'm going to fetch, Surveil, Octhon Worm. I think I'm just going to keep it, figuring we kind of already have all of the pieces. If I bin a Grishoalbrand, And they could have like surgical or something like that. But I do want the life gain if things go weird. Maybe I will graveyard it. Try and draw something that's like more directly useful. Shifting Woodland is more directly useful. Alright, so I'm just going to pass the turn, bin Grishoalbrand, and then next turn go for Agorios backed up by Double Pact. We do get to, if they have like surgical, we can potentially fight it with Pact and just win in response to the surgical, or in response to the Pact trigger on our upkeep. So going to clean up. If they living end, we do get a worm back, which is kind of nice also. So getting rid of an Ardent Plea, okay. So we're going to put a Grishoalbrand into the yard. Cycling a Generous Ent, so they get another land. They have Hedge Maze, okay. Go to our turn. We find a third Pact. So I'm going to play the Shifting Woodland, and I think I'm just going to go for the Gorios here, because it does sort of maximize my chances to like draw the most cards if I can get the attack in with Grishoalbrand. That represents 7 more life, which is 7 more cards. I think the chances of them having the means of stopping this with 3 Pacts in our hand is not very high at all. So we're just going for it. They're endurancing. I'm going to Pact the Endurance. We have a Grishoalbrand in play. We get to attack. They're at 9. Let's draw some cards. Let's draw some more cards. We have a Shoal Worm. So that's good. Let's draw some more cards. And some more cards. And let's see what we got. We did find some Soul Spikes. We found 3 Soul Spikes, which is enough to kill them. I'm going to get rid of Buried Alive, Grizzly Salvage, spike them a bit more. Buried Alive, Thoughtseize, sure. Spike them again. We can get rid of Agorios and a Buried Alive. And look at that, a nice clean 2-0 win over Living End. Felt good, felt strong, and Living End feels like probably a good matchup for us. All right, round number 3 in just 1 second here. All right, so round number 3, we are finally on the play this time. And we are on the play. Okay, so we have a hand here that is pretty good. We've got Saga into Mortuary on turn 2 into Agorios, so I'm definitely going to keep this. So we have a turn 3 here, assuming nothing goes wrong. And again, we have that benefit of looking like Amulet when we play turn 1 Saga Pass, which is nice. So we are on our main phase. We're playing the Saga. So Saga Pass. We're just playing Amulet Titan. You know? You need your subtleties, you know, find some subtleties. Wooded Foothills. Okay, this could be a lot of things. Stomping Ground. Okay, so probably not Storm. Okay, maybe Prowess or Burn or something of that variety. So they're going to hit us for 1 with this Swift Spear. If I found an untapped green source to play Rumble, I'd be most excited about that. I'm not interested in an untapped green source that costs us 3 life, though. So I think I'm just going to Surveil in the Mortuary, or bring in the Mortuary, Surveil. Do I want Endurance? Hmm. think I don't. I think I'm okay binning in Endurance. And then what I'm probably going to be looking to do is actually ambush their Swift Spear in combat with this Grishoalbrand on their turn 3. But I might not want to let them untap. It depends on what they do here. I maybe would just want to get in the hit for 7. And then, you know, draw some cards with that. Also, another reason the Turn Timber wouldn't work is because it doesn't make black mana for the Goryo's. They're playing a Slick Shot, so I'm probably just going to smack them with the Grishoalbrand and then go for the win. The question here is, are they going to commit like a mutagenic or anything like that? They do. That is 4 damage, which is a little bit annoying. We do already have a spike in our hand, at least. We also have Turn Timber, which can be food for a Grizzle. We're down to 12, so we're going to be at 19 for the comboing attempt here. Float a mana. We're going to go get the Underworld Cookbook. We can bin a Grishoalbrand. Create a food token that we can't use. And is there any benefit to playing a land? I maybe want to play a land to thin at some point later, so I'm not going to worry about that now. We're just going to Goryo's back the Grizzle. Surely they don't have main deck Surgical Extraction, but I mean, if they did, I'd be pretty sad. We're gonna get up to 19 off of this. The Soul Spike will get us to 23, so we essentially do have 3 draws worth, basically. I mean, the chances that I don't hit 2 black cards in 14 cards are very slim. Okay, so I'm going to draw some cards. We do hit Shoal Worm, so that's excellent. We will draw, or we'll gain our 15. Draw some more cards. We can Shoal Worm again. We do have 2 Soul Spikes in hand, but we don't have enough black cards, so we still need to draw a little bit more. And in fact, I'm going to, I think, draw even more. Not from a showboating standpoint, but because I want them to maybe not see how much life gain we have, or like, I don't know, make it think it was harder than it is. So yeah, I'm gonna draw a little bit more. And a little bit more. And maybe this makes them like slightly misevaluate hate that they're gonna try and use or something. But I'm not going to show them cards that they don't know about. So I'm going to only show them Goryo's if I can help it. I'm not going to show... I can show them another Grishoalbrand. And they're at 0, and we win. So we get a nice game 1 over Prowess, which is pretty important. It was also pretty important being on the play there. So what do I want against them? Footsteps, definitely. What else? So I could bring in the Haywire Mites. They're going to be a little bit less likely to be playing the enchantment from Burn that Burn had. What's it called? I don't remember. But they could still have it. I could definitely expect, you know, like a Tormod's Crypt out of them. That's something else that could show up. Maybe Harsh Mentor. So, given that, kind of like Needle. Needle shuts down multiple Tormod's Crypts. Although it is a little bit niche. Maybe it should still just be Haywire Mite. Haywire Might can also just be played as a blocker. Witch's Cottage is again going to be slow. I know I said last time maybe I need to cut this, and I still feel like maybe I need to cut it. I'm not 100% sure. On the draw, Buried Alive can go. Thoughtseize, not what we really need. Nile Spellbomb, I think I'm not too concerned. Harsh Mentor can just be played through. It's really not that big of a deal. Seiju is relatively free. They're not going to be playing Blood Moon, so I can cut the Swamp. So I have 60 here. I could bring in one more Haywire. I could also think about bringing in the Sorin. Yeah, I think I don't mind bringing in the Sorin. And like shoot a creature with it. So if I bin, or what else don't I need? We cut a Buried Alive. Maybe we cut an Endurance. And maybe we cut, maybe we don't need all 4 Haywire Mites. So let's go like this. Map I'm not as concerned about. Yeah, I could think about Needle, but I don't think there's a good enough reason for it yet. And our plan versus Mentor is to just play through it. It essentially means our Grishoalbrand activations cost 2 more, which is like, not great, but not catastrophic. This hand, we do have Shoal Worm. We have Saga. We don't have any reanimation stuff. So I think I'm just going to mulligan this. This hand, we have a bunch of Sagas. Sorin that we can't play. This is another mulligan, I think. I could keep this, bin a Saga, Beseiju. I have Soul Spike for their first creature, and then I just try to win with Sagas. So I think that's likely enough to happen. Is it better than a 5? Maybe. I could also, if I find another black card and a land that makes black, I get to Sorin, spike something, flip Sorin, shoot something with Sorin, which is nice. That could, I think I'm actually going to keep this. This seems a little bit weird, but on the back of, you know, maybe having a Saga plan, having a life-gaining piece of removal for their what's it called? The Slick Shot. And, you know, maybe having 2 removals with Sorin, it's, I think, worth a shot. So they have Swift Spear. They can hit for 1. We're going to lead on Beseiju. Unless I can find, like, Fetch Land or Surveil Land would be a good draw. Zurin Orb is not a good draw. It is an artifact, which I guess is nice. Do I want to open things up to that? I think I do. I'll play the Zurin Orb. If they have like artifact removal, I'd rather them use it on that than use it on like a construct of mine. They've got a Barbarian Ring. And are they going to go for a Slick Shot? Perhaps. They plotted it. Okay. We go to our turn. Pick up a Haywire Might. So I'm going to play Saga. I'm going to play Haywire Might. And we're just holding up Soul Spike. Maybe they have like Tormod's Crypt. And they did mulligan to 6. So I feel like they could have mulliganed to Grave Hate. It is just another artifact, so it pumps the constructs a little bit more too, which is nice. I think I probably am not going to just throw this under the bus. If they have multiple mutagenics, they potentially blow us out here, although we can just Soul Spike in response to the first mutagenic. And we're going to take a chunk of damage, but you know, I don't think they'll be able to save this Slick Shot. So they're going for an Unholy Heat on my Haywire Might. Relatively okay with that. I can't really do a lot about it. We do gain 2 life. So, I mean, traded 1 for 1. I mean, they do get the Prowess triggers, but what else are they going for? Scale up or something would be ideal. They're mutagenicing the Slick Shot. Question is, do we think that they have another mutagenic? If we think they have another mutagenic, then I think I need to do it now, because the chances of like outright losing are just too high if they just like have another mutagenic and they don't burn the mutagenic, which they probably shouldn't burn the mutagenic knowing that I'm a Soul Spike deck. The Swift Spear is, I mean, so we countered the mutagenic, we killed the Slick Shot. They do get to hit us for 3 down to 21, so I mean, sure. Pretty happy about that. I would like actually another land so that I don't have to burn my Saga, one of my Saga charges here on, like basically so I don't end up, like it's 1 fewer construct that I can make overall if I don't find another land. We find a Talkthon Worm. Most certainly not a land. Kind of the opposite of a land if you think about it. So we'll play our other Saga. And, you know, we get to maybe... We could get... We'll probably will get Cookbook and then just start making food tokens to both A, gain a little bit of life, and B, make constructs. So I think I'm not going to block the Swift Spear here. We're at 21, they have 3 cards in hand. This is not going to kill us. They did have another mutagenic, or they just picked it up, but I think it was, you know, it was definitely the right call to use the Soul Spike when we did. And so I'm going to make a construct. Go to our turn. And we draw a Cookbook, which is super awkward. So we'll stack the search below the construct making. I'm going to make another construct. We do need to find another land, like, soon here. It'd be... Actually, next turn we're not even going to get to. No, so these are just the 2 constructs we get. That's unfortunate. We get a Haywire Might here, at least pump them a little bit bigger. Yeah, we did need to draw a land that turn. They could have like an Unholy Heat. But yeah, I mean, this can win. They don't have that much removal, especially given what they saw in game number 1. I think they're likely to be like boarding out their own. I mean, they did leave an Unholy Heat in, which why would they leave an Unholy Heat in? That just seems very strange. I mean, maybe they anticipate Haywire Might. Maybe it's just because we're a rogue deck. So the question is, what are we sacrificing here? Sack an artifact. Probably the Zurin Orb, or is it the Haywire Might? The Haywire Might represents damage. I think I'm going to sack the Zurin Orb. The Zurin Orb, I mean, yes, it can represent life gain, but it's... I don't know. I think I'd rather have Cookbook, discard Worm, you know, hit him with some constructs. This does, yeah, the Haywire Might can be a blocker, can also be an attacker. I think that's a little bit more flexible than Zurin Orb potentially letting me sack non-saga lands, which, given the shortage of lands, I don't think I'm that likely to be doing that. Interesting that they didn't, maybe they just picked it up, but interesting they didn't use it to pop an enchantment earlier with the sagas. So we go to our turn. We pick up a shoal. That's pretty interesting. They do bolt one of our constructs. Okay. So I'm going to get another Haywire Mite. I'm going to play the Underworld Cookbook. Then I'm going to go to combat. I'm going to attack him with a Construct for 4. Now I could discard my Worm or my Shoal. I don't particularly want to. Oh, they're chumping. Okay, I'm pretty okay with that. I mean, we have gain 15 in hand, so we're effectively at 32 life. They have 1 card in hand. They're pumping it. Oh, okay. Okay, then they get us actually. No, but it's it's a 5/6. I can't actually make enough yeah, like so I can make a food, but then I go to 5/5. So they do actually kill our construct here. That's unfortunate. So I mean, we're both top decking. We have 2 Haywire Mites, so they're actually held back a little bit. We need to find a land. Pick your poison, making us sack an artifact. I'm gonna actually sack. Oh, I will. Will I sack a Haywire Mite? Because Cookbook represents a way to get Grishoalbrand into the yard, but I'm so far away from that. I think I'd rather just have the 2 Haywire Mites in play. Yeah, I think I'm actually just going to sack the Cookbook. I have 2 Haywire Mites. They can't really attack. Because it represents a clock that clocks them back. Endurance would be good if I got some lands. Go to their turn. 1 card. What is it? The Mishra's Bauble. They get a Prowess trigger. They probably still can't attack. They do get to look at our deck. There's no reason to use the Shoal Worm yet. Oh, they're attacking. That seems aggressive. They draw a card. We draw a card. We pick up an Underground Mortuary. Okay, so we're going to go to combat. We're going to attack with both of our Haywire Mites. What did they draw? Oh, they drew an Unholy Heat. Oh, that's rough. Okay. I mean, they get to kill a Haywire Mite. We gain 2 life. Puts them to 5. And then I'm going to play the Mortuary. I'm looking for a 3rd land to be able to play this Endurance. I'm going to bin that Grishoalbrand. That was a good hit. So now Goryo's Vengeance is a win. Also, just building up my lands maybe gets me there. I have a lot of good draws. Like any land for this Endurance plus building towards... they put Jegantha into their hand. Go to our turn. We pick up Footsteps of the Goryo, so no land probably just wins on the spot. They can't really play this Jegantha anytime soon. Pick up another land. We know their hand is Jegantha, and they're not attacking with this Swift Spear. They don't want to trade damage against our Haywire. Pick up another Worm. That's a terrible draw. Be interesting to see what they... Okay, they have a Soul Scar that they picked up. They might start attacking. I don't think I block here. The 1 damage doesn't necessarily matter. 16. Yeah, I still have draw against. Okay. So still nothing. We're just looking for a no, we're just looking for a land. Up another Soul Scar. So we know their hand is Jegantha. At some point I probably think about chumping with this Haywire. I think it's not yet. I might next turn if nothing else happens, though. And yeah, let's see how it's going. We do okay, there's the forest. Okay, so that's really good. We know that their hand is Gigantha. So I'm just gonna go for it here. They do have Barbarian Ring to shoot us for 2. So if I exile the worm, we gain 15, we're up to 29. Footsteps, we have 3 draws with footsteps pretty cleanly. And you know, we should certainly find a Soul Spike or at least another Shoal with that. I could have attacked with the Haymarmite first. Maybe they block it and we get a little bit more life. But all right, so we pick up the win over Prowess. That was a pretty crazy turn 11 game 2. I mean, I think we probably made the right call to sort of keep our Saga plan. But the game, you know, we kind of burned out each other's resources and we drew out of it first. All right, so on to match number 4. All right, so we have a round 4 hand that is very strong here. We have a turn 2 actually with Cookbook, Goryo's, Grishoalbrand. So our opponent is GR Donkin. So if you are an Adnals player, you might know Donkin plays more Amulet nowadays. But you know, we have what would be a very good hand against Amulet, so I'd be pretty pumped about this. I think I'm gonna lead on Tomb Cookbook to maybe try and look like an Asmo deck. And then next turn we just go Saga Goryo's, get him. Forest, Amulet, there we go. Dump a Goryo's. He has messaged us. And here we're going to go with a Goryo's. And we've got the turn 2, probably. You know, we need to actually hit the right cards, but roll our worm, draw some more, Got another Shoal. Do we have another worm? Do we have a Soul Spike? We've got Soul Spike. So we'll hit him with the Soul Spike, get rid of a Grizzle, get rid of a Buried Alive. I think I got rid of a Goryo's. I don't remember. And all right, we've got another Shoal Pitch Worm. We've got another Soul Spike. We can get rid of a Buried Alive. We can get rid of a Goryo's. Draw some more cards. We've got another Soul Spike here. So we'll target Donkin. We will then draw some more cards. We've got 10 left. So is our Soul Spike in the bottom? No, it is not. So we don't need to worry about the endurance looping. We'll get rid of the Goryo's. We'll get rid of our Grishoalbrand. And that is the turn 2. So we're going to begin our post-sideboard games again against Amulet. So I like Boseiju here. Haywire might as well. We could blow up Amulets to slow them down. I'm a little more into that on the draw. What are they going to have for us? Probably like Bajuka Bog. So instant speed is important. Footsteps is also something I'm interested in. Sorin, not as much. Amulet doesn't really have its own life total go down, so I'm not so worried about like Sorin Shoal is not going to necessarily kill them. What don't I need? Witch's Cottage, a little bit slow. I say that like every game, which is maybe an indicator that it needs to be cut. Thoughtseize I still think I want to keep. Zurin Orb, they're not really pressuring our life total until they're killing us, so I don't mind ditching the Zurin Orb. We can also cut the Swamp. Like I said, we brought in the Tuba Sage Juice, just keep the land count consistent. We can cut the Necrotic probably for being a little bit slower as far as business goes. What else? Buried Alive on the draw, I might cut one. And then we could cut one Rumble maybe. Maybe we don't need all 4 Haywire Mites. 3. Yeah, I think I like this. Do I need the 2 Endurances? Maybe, actually. And our life total isn't under that much pressure. But we maybe have to bypass a ring also, which means winning on their turn. I now realize in hindsight that this haha could have come across as like a little bit rude if he saw it like during the comboing. Hopefully he saw it early enough. How do I feel about this hand? We've got Thoughtseize, which is nice. We've got Buried Alive, which is also nice. We don't have a reanimation spell. But besides that, no, I think we can do better. I'm going to mulligan this. It's already kind of a mediocre 6 with the Soul Spike. How do I feel about this? We've got Saga, we've got Might, we've got Agorios, we don't have a second land. I'm going to mull that to 5. We've got... Okay, this I will keep. We've got, like, turn 1... Okay, so we do have a Thoughtseize. We have 2 cards here. We can, like, Thoughtseize our own Grishoalbrand and then Footsteps it. If they have a turn 3 Titan getting Bajuka, this is a little bit bad. One of the cards sent away is going to be Rumble. The other one could be... It could actually be Grishoalbrand, with the idea that we turn 1 Thoughtseize them, turn 2 Salvage, hopefully hit a Grishoalbrand, turn 3 Footsteps. But if we miss, it's kind of a problem. I think it's better than Thoughtseizing ourselves. I don't like the idea of Thoughtseizing ourselves here. And so I think we're going to go like this. All right, so leads on T-West. We did pick up another Grishoalbrand, so that's actually something that we really do have to think about now. So if I wait and Thoughtseize ourself, we are now lower odds to hit off this Grizzly Salvage. And does their hand present a Titan next turn is another consideration. I could just get a Surveil land. And then like turn 2 I'm looking at... Well, if I get a... Next turn they could easily... Yeah, I think I still like Thoughtseizing them. On the draw, I think it's too risky to Thoughtseize ourselves. They have 2 Amulets, 2 Grazers, and a Dryad. So they can go Amulet, Turf, Grazer, Turf, Dryad, Turf, Grazer, Amulet. They need to find a payoff. If I take Dryad, they have Amulet, Turf, Grazer. Then they potentially just use their Grazer land drops early. Alternately, I take Amulet. They vomit their board into play, but then what do they do with it? I think I'm going to take the Dryad. Like, yeah, they vomit their board into play, but what's the follow-up? I don't know. This is incidentally a hand that would have been relatively okay. Okay, so they pick up a Valakut as their draw for turn, and they do get to play another Amulet. So they do just have a million mana if they find a Titan. We need to hope that they don't. So we play Boseiju, and then we're going to be going for a Grizzly Salvage on the end step. So if they find either a Titan or a Pact, we are in serious trouble. Now they don't have the double blue because their bounce land is Gruul Turf to bounce this T-West. If we had found another land, we could have held up the Boseiju for the bounce land, which would have been nice. But we can't. So yeah, they can make a blue. They can Gruul Turf bounce it. I guess they can Gruul Turf bounce it, Grazer in another, or they can Grazer in the T-West, but then they can't bounce it again. I guess they can float mana first, double Grazer. Yeah, they can double Grazer. So they can transmute the T-West, but they do have to leave their Gruul Turf in play at the end of this. So then they need to find another bounce land. So this comes in, they float a blue with the T-West. No, wait, it doesn't work. Oh, they have Vesuva, copy T-West. Okay, so this is going to generate the mana. And then, okay, so Vesuva was their pickup. So we're not immediately in trouble this turn, but we are dead next turn unless we find something. Because they will still be able to preserve the... No, they won't be able to preserve the bounce land in hand, because here they have to send the T-West back to hand, and their last card is Gruul Turf. So they'll have 4 mana. So if they draw a land, they can Pact. They transmute here. Oh, they actually just get the Titan here. I wasn't even counting that they actually had the full thing here. Well, then we're dead. We are, in fact, dead. So they've got a turn 3. We have the turn 2. It's fair. It's all fair games. You know. Let's see what they take. You know, make them actually, you know, pick the right stuff. I don't know. Not every list is playing the... I think... Is everything playing the double strike? Let's... Yeah, I mean, so this should, I guess, be Valakut plus Hanweir, or if they play the... Or if... I don't know why I'm saying they. I know Duncan. Duncan... Yeah, so he might be playing the Boros, Garrison, and Slayer Strong. Yeah, I'm just not up to date on which version of things Amulet is primarily playing nowadays. Our turn, I mean, if I think the chances we live are very, very slim, but if we do, it's Grizzly, and we hope we hit ban a Grishoalbrand, hit a land, go for the Footsteps. But even with the Footsteps, we're actually in a little bit of trouble. Odawara, interesting. Get some untaps. Yeah, so actually maybe we're not immediately dead. Gains haste, sure. And then I guess get bounce land, send back the Odawara, have the Odawara in hand. We're going to take 6, go to 9. They're going to have to pay the Pact next turn. And it's bounce land plus... Not sure what the other card is. Maybe it's another... No, not another T-West. Could potentially like hit another Boseiju and blow a green source. No, but they can just get a green source, so that doesn't work. So I guess it's float. No, it's I guess it's Simic Growth T-West. Okay. Yeah, okay, this works. They have to bounce the Otawara, though, unless they want to just transmute again now. So that's a choice point. Yeah, so 4 mana up, holding up Otawara. We take 6, go to 9. So the odds are pretty heavily stacked against us from here. We're going to go for a Grizzly Salvage. We do hit a Mortuary, Grishoalbrand in the yard. We'll take the Mortuary. We draw like a Goryo's, maybe we get there. Soul Spike in the yard's a little bit rough. Draw Saga, so we do get to Footsteps back a Grizzle. The downside to this is that there's an Otawara in hand. And the fact that there's an Otawara in hand, I mean, we can't really do anything about this. We could Footsteps back the Grizzle, draw 7, get our Grizzle bounced, have no mana, and no life to work with. So I'm going to... I think I'm just going to scoop it up here. All right. So we'll go to the third game. Any changes I want to make? On the play, I could be more interested in Buried Alive. A little bit less interested in... Maybe we cut a Rumble? No, I do like Rumble. Maybe we cut a Haywire Might on the play. We try and be fast. I think map is still too slow. They're an orb I'm not as into. Pact, I don't think I need. They could have Endurance. That's something that can be played around with like instant speed, though. How do I feel about this? I mean, we have a Shoal Worm, but that's not anything to write home about. We need to get a Grishoalbrand into the yard. If I was on the draw, I'd actually love this because it's, you know, discard the Grishoalbrand hand size and then go. On the play, pass the turn, second turn, pass the turn, it'd be turn 4. We do have a Beseiju to like blow up something that they're doing. I'm going to keep it. I'm not super excited about it, but I think it, with the Beseiju as interaction, having the Goryos, I think this is reasonable. Donkin has mulligan to 6. Worm Shoal is, again, not the most exciting against them, but it does mean we can potentially combo off of lower life total. How many, okay, I only boarded out 1 Malevolent, but I do have, just with this Grishoalbrand in hand, it's a little bit rough. So we'll get a Surveil on turn 1 here. They go for Amulet. We'll get the Surveil land. Mortuary. I'll keep a Grizzly Salvage. Play Catacombs, and we can Beseiju the Amulet, or we hold up Grizzly Salvage. I kind of like Besieguing the Amulet, actually. I think it maybe slows them down enough. And go for Forest. Yeah, I'm going to Besieju the Amulet. If there's a second Amulet, potentially we get got here, but and maybe a Saga coming in. Razor, okay. So, I mean, I think hitting the Amulet did turn out good. Systemic Growth, bouncing back, Forest, probably, yeah. And land for turn. Okay, so that's 4 mana. Go to our turn. Turn Timber. So I think I like Salvage. No, do I like Salvage here? So I could play tapped Turn Timber, pass, Salvage on end step. Or I could Salvage here trying to hit a Saga. I think I liked Salvage here trying to hit Saga, because the upside of hitting Saga is high enough that I would want to play it now. Do I want Worm or do I want Delta? I'll take Delta. And I'll play Delta. Pass turn. Thoughtseize would be a reasonable draw at this point. Cookbook is obviously ideal. No. We have some turns, but we don't have infinite turns. Breeding Pool gets to 5 mana. Playing it tapped could be the ring. Shuko. Ooh, so it's like Amulet Nadu. Interesting. Interesting. Why did I not fetch? I don't know. I just passed turn by accident. We'll draw for turn. We do pick up a Saga. Okay. Something. And then it's yeah, it's a pass. So we're not out of the woods yet. This does potentially represent 5 next turn for... No, Buried Alive is not good. Yeah, if we pick up Buried Alive, we potentially have a chance. Okay, so Boseiju eats our Saga. We'll get a Tomb. I'm going to fetch the other tapped Tomb on end step. Okay. Vestige coming down. Titan? Looks like Titan. It is a Titan. Interestingly, our Grishoalbrand is not in the yard yet, so Bog doesn't matter that much. Grazer is going to hit us for 1. I feel like it's going to be Bog. Oh, not Bog Bounce Land. Okay, Simic Growth, T-West. So they can T-West for Pact, Pact Nadu, and go that way next turn. So we are actually under pressure to find something. Move the Shuko. We'll fetch with the Delta. Get a tapped Overgrown Tomb. Let's see what we got. Thoughtseize. Thoughtseize does it. Yeah, Thoughtseize does it. We can Thoughtseize ourselves, go to 13, Goryo's the Grizzle. Now, if they have Endurance, they do get us. No, but one of their cards is... one of their cards is... T-West. We'll attack first. And we had a reasonable number of hits there. We've had a reasonable number of hits for a few turns, so by turn 5, this feels within the range of what we're supposed to be doing. Alright, so I'm going to shoal a worm. Shoal another worm. Start some soul spikes going. Get rid of Footsteps, Grizzly Salvage. Can soul spike again. Get rid of Grizzly, Grishoalbrand. Draw 7 more. Draw 7 more. 1 more soul spike. There it is. Get rid of Thoughtseize, Buried Alive. And that's the match. Alright, so that was match number 4 over Amulet Nadu and former Adnal, I'll say former Adnals player because I haven't seen him play Nulls in a long time, but former Adnals player and Donkin. But alright, on to round number 5. Alright, so round number 5, we have a hand here that's not really keepable. These Nourishing Shoals don't do anything. The Endurance doesn't do anything. I can't cast the Buried Alives, so I have no real plan to like win the game off of this. So this is going to be a mulligan. Okay, second here, we will keep this. We have some life gain. I do have Rumble into potentially Woodlands, or it's like Rumble into Buried Alive into Woodlands. The downside is I would have to get rid of one of... Am I on the play? I am on the play. I'd have to get rid of either Worm or Shoal. I think that is worth doing to sort of preserve some flexibility with our lands. And I definitely don't want to get rid of either Rumble or Buried Alive. I'm probably looking at a turn 4 with the Woodlands. Our opponent, I think I recognize this name as a Merfolk player, although I'm not 100% sure about that. Opponent has mulligan to 5. And yeah, so I mean, we're going to lead on probably Delta, because that makes it less likely that we're running Rumble. Although, do I want to get basics against Harbinger? I probably do want to get basics. Although I could just, I could Delta, get a Swamp, Verdant, fetch a Forest, Rumble, and then still have Buried Alive, and then still have Shifting if I need to play it as my Buried Alive land. And then if I just hit a Grishoalbrand off the Rumble, I can Shifting on turn 3 with green plus the green from the Shifting, colorless from the Rumble, and then colorless from the Swamp. Although I do want the Surveil land. That's the only slightly tricky thing. I can see how they lead. All right, they've kept their 5, so I'm going to lead on the Delta. Let's confirm that they are, in fact, playing Merfolk. And they lead on Bajukabog, so they are not playing Merfolk. They grief. They probably take Buried Alive. Nicely, our Shifting Woodland insulates us a little bit here. And they scam it, they'll probably take Buried Alive plus Rumble, and then, you know, we're working from nothing, but they did also mull the 5 for this. So they did take our Buried Alive. They're not dead after all, and probably they're going to take Rumble here. And they've got the grief scam. And it's just a matter of us finding a way to get a Grishoalbrand into the yard before this grief kills us. So here we're definitely fetching the Surveil. So we've got the Mortuary. Don't want a Nourishing Shoal. And we do find another land, which is like kind of okay, but we're gonna get clocked by this grief unless we can do something about it. That's not looking great. Some of our grindy plans, I mean, we can potentially fetch a Witch's Cottage, but we don't have the, ooh, it's Esper. So this is maybe suggesting... I don't think it's Goryo's. Could just be like Esper Scam. I don't know why I didn't fetch there. That was just a mistake. I'm gonna just fetch tapped here at the end step. The 5th land is kind of not the worst. If I potentially get to turn 5 and then get to Shifting plus, I should have fetched though. They're gonna hit us to 11. They have 2 cards in hand. Maybe just Esper Scam. They thought sees us, and sure, they do get to take our Nourishing Shoal. That's also bad because 2 of our shoals are gone. I'm gonna get a tapped Overgrown Tomb. Go to our turn. Pick up a Zurin Orb. Not really what we need. I'm gonna play the Shifting Woodland. Take 4 more, go to 6. Next turn, we potentially get to smack them for, like, if, well, no, but we need a way to get Grishoalbrand into the yard. Not looking good. We need to draw something that does something next turn, really. Ideally, we would have drawn it this turn. Soporific Springs. So our opponent actually looks to be playing, like, Belcher or Oops. Yeah, Belcher. So it's like Scam Belcher. I did try a version of this, actually. So if you're interested, but this was before MH3, but I played a version that had, like, Selective Memory and then Scam and stuff. It was pretty interesting. All right, so got a Verdant. That's the card they know about, so I don't mind playing that. I just want to see their deck list from Belcher. We're dead here, though. They're going to hit us with the Grief. And interestingly, are they going to hold back the Belcher? They actually probably should. No? Okay. I think it makes more sense to hold it back, but you never know. All right, so let's see what they've got. So, normal Scam stuff. 1 Ironcrag Feet. Various Talismans. Solar Transformer. Pacts. So it's just like a deck that has Pact. It has Selective Memory. Is it Beseech? Yeah, so it's Beseech, Pact, Selective Memory, Belcher, and then they have the Scam package. Okay, so we're going to begin sideboarding. Needle is okay against Belcher, although they do have answers. Haywire Might, I'm interested in. They have Pacts. Seiju I like. Cottage is slow. Every game. Swamp we can cut. We want some speed with Footsteps. They can't really use their Pacts defensively because they have to like, they're not gonna be able to pay for them, so I don't think we need our Pacts. Zurin Orb, Thoughtseize. I do want Thoughtseize. Sorin does potentially. Yeah, Sorin would be effective with Shoalworm just because they do damage to themselves. So could think about that. Maybe I just cut the Sorin. I just for card slots. Like what card slots don't I want? Maybe I cut a Rumble. An Ooze is an extra reanimation spell. Zurin Orb, my life totals, I mean, that game was a little bit of an anomaly. I think my life total is not really likely to be under pressure until I'm dead. So I'm not going to worry about the Zurin Orb, I don't think, just because I need some cuts. Cut a Rumble. We cut 1 Endurance. I do want the Thought Seizes. Actually, no. I can just be faster on the play. On the draw, those might come back. But let's go like this. Okay, so we've got Might and then nothing. So we're going to mulligan. This hand is a keep. What am I sending away? Sending away Nourishing Shoal. So this hand is a hand that leads on Saga and then goes for a turn 3. So we lead on Saga. We can Saga Needle Belcher. Opponent has mulled to 5. If they have Grief Scam, we potentially end up in a little bit of trouble here. I mean, maybe they're mulling to Grief Scam, but they're all Belcher is just a deck that mulls kind of a lot. So, I mean, if I wanted to hedge against that, I could lead Beseiju and then maybe make constructs, but I think I'm just going to lead on. And even if they just have grief, they need to have the scam too. They only were playing the 4 scam. So I think the odds that they have grief scam is low enough that I'm willing to just go Saga. And then if we draw a black source, we have a turn 3. Otherwise, we're just looking to top deck a black source. And I'll Needle Belcher. I don't like playing this early because it does kind of give them information that this is, but I mean, if they have a fast enough hand, I don't know. And also, like, if they play a Grave Hate piece, I'd want this against the Grave Hate piece. We'll see. Buried Alive, not the best pickup. Play Beseiju. They've got an Agademe, so they probably have a Talisman or some sort of 2-mana rock next, I would think. Shocking it in. Solar Transformer, sure. Enters tap, they get their energy. They can get to 4 mana here. Go to our turn. Black source? Not a black source. We're going to get Cookbook. And then we're going to pass the turn. And we're just looking for a black source. And if we find one, we're going to win. If we don't, we're going to lose. 4 mana, I mean, they could have something off of that. I mean, maybe it's just... Hopefully it's just like a Belcher that they were playing towards that they now can't play. Hardcast Grief is not that scary because we have 2 Gorios. These Buried Alives are useless. How many? I did board out... The Witch's Cottage wouldn't have been that useful. I did board out the Swamp, but we have 5 fetches, 2... what's it called? 2 shocks. The Surveil would be a turn late. They do hardcast the Grief. They're going to take a Gorios, I would imagine. They could take the Grishoalbrand if they have, like, hate for it. They take a Gorios. Could be another discard next turn, maybe. I see no reason to discard anything now. Actually, no. I could discard a Buried Alive. Maybe I'd gain a little bit of life with food along the way or something if I need to. Pick up a Grisly Salvage, so that's pretty bad. See what they have. Do they have another Grief? That'd be unfortunate. They're attacking. Could be, I mean, if the best case would be they have like Belcher in hand, but maybe they have like Surgical. If they have Surgical, they would have just discarded the Grishoalbrand and taken the Grishoalbrands, though. They could have Beseech. Beseech? Belcher? Beseech. Okay, so they're not bargaining it. Thoughtseize? No, they... Interesting. Let's see what they take. Feels like they might get Thoughtseize and then Gorios, and then take our Gorios. Did they have main deck Thoughtseize? I don't remember. They did. Okay. So we are now in a bit of a rough spot. We can still get there, but we need a land, and it probably starts with Grisly Salvage here. We could Soul Spike the Grief. That's certainly an option that is available to us. I think I actually might just... Well, the other option is I Soul Spike their face. They've shocked in so many lands, but the odds that that actually kills them are very low. The question is, if I Soul Spike, what do I get rid of? I get rid of Salvage Buried? I think so, because then this represents a guaranteed Grishoalbrand in the yard. Although salvage can find me land. I could also just wait a turn and then see if I draw another black card. I kind of like that, actually. They might have a like a blink effect, but they do. They're thought seizing us. So here I could soul spike, make a food. Question is, what do we think the chances are that they have? This is also putting them to 7. A soul spike would put them to 3. Can't play untapped lands. What are the chances that they have the Malakir Rebirth right now? Okay, so we're losing our whole hand anyway. So I think I pitch Salvage Buried Alive. They have to take the Grishoalbrand, but then they can eat it if they have a Boggart Bog. I think I still like this. Do you have a Malakir? They do. Okay. All right. I mean, I risked it. We do gain the life at least. They lose the life from the Thoughtseize. And Grishoalbrand is in our yard. We just need to find land. Nourishing Shoal is in fact not a land. They're down to 1 card. We have time. We just need to find something to do with it. Belcher, they can't use it, so that's okay. Get hit for 3 down to 15. Eventually this could go on a while if we find a worm. That is in fact not a land, although it's not bad because we do get to we get to search for and probably find land 3 if we find land number 2. This hits us to 12. What else do they have? Nothing, maybe. Or it could be like Pacts or something. Another Nourishing Shoal. Oh man, these draws have been terrible. They're gonna attack. Down to 9. Land would still be good anytime now. They've got a Static Prison, so they're static prisoning our Pithing Needle. So that is going to kill us. Really, Static Prison. I guess they didn't see what we were doing enough game 1. Maybe it's just general anti-hate. Did they see Saga game 1? I don't think they saw Saga. Depends on what they saw as to whether or not this feels reasonable, but maybe they just expect some sort of hate in general. Yeah, I mean, it's gonna happen. We're dead. So a little bit unfortunate. We just never saw the second land. We had like several turns there where if we just see the second land, we win. But still not a bad finish. 3-2. Let's go take a look at the list one more time. Okay, so Rumble versus Ignoble. I feel like I can't conclusively say anything about this yet. I really did I cast Rumble at all this league? Maybe once. I think I cast it once this whole league. So I feel like it wasn't necessarily very representative testing for Rumble. Map didn't really come up that much. Mostly it felt like, you know, it was Haywire Might and sort of our usual instant speed stuff, and the tweaks that we made from last time to this time didn't really end up mattering. It was still a good list, still a good deck. I think I probably kept some hands that I shouldn't have against Burn in the first round, and maybe that matchup could have been different had I played that a little bit differently. Round number 5 against Belcher, I mean, we just low rolled, I think, like going 8 turns without finding a land, and then in game 2 and then in game 1 they just had we had a mull to 5 and they had the turn 1 grief scam. So sometimes that happens, you know, that's magic for you. Deck was great. You know, I'll be playing more of this still. You know, I play this exact version with Rumble again next, or I think I'll probably play the Rumble version again next, because I just want a little bit more data with this compared to Ignoble to see how I feel about it. Anyway, until next time, keep drawing your whole library and then throwing soul spikes at your opponent's face. It's fun, it's great, and yeah, bye everyone.